You're listening to the KYLO Show, and I'm your host, Danny Silk.
And I'm Brittney Serple. The KYLO Show is a podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what, and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. And it starts right now. Hello and welcome to the KYLO Show.
We're back.
And
They missed us.
there's some things that might look a little bit different.
Yeah. Brand new.
We have a new season.
We moved.
We did move.
We moved.
We've moved all of our podcasts actually to the studio.
We got new digs.
And we've created a new set, which is what we do for every new season. But we have a little bit of a fun new approach to some of the things that we're doing.
Yep.
With
fancy. It's all fancy in here.
Hopefully you can see our neon sign. You
Yep.
can't really see it very well, but you are glowing on one side.
Am I? Because I'm alive. Because I'm live. I'm like, we're going live. That's what we're doing.
We're having fun with taking kind of what we've always done is we'll talk about some good stuff for the first half of the show, and then the second half we will be going live a little bit.
I know, we're having call-ins. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear real people ask real questions in real time, get their real answer, walk away, hopefully ready to go.
But it is fun being able to go back and forth with people, and because the speak pipe was fun, but it was definitely
There's a lag.
it was just hard to understand fully what the question was. It was short. They had probably a minute, I think, to record.
Yeah. So if you're on our email list, you could get notified that we're doing this, and you can get scheduled, and you could get in line and be on the KYLO Show live.
You could.
Hence the sign.
Yes, it's glowing behind you. But we've got a new logo even. We've got a lot of new going on with this season. So we're excited about that, and it should be a lot of fun. But because we're so new, it feels like, and just different listeners, we thought probably a good idea to go back to the basics a little bit.
Lay a little foundation. Yeah.
And remind you of some of the OG foundation that we laid out in the beginning. I feel like looking back to the very first season, we are very fancy back then. We're not so fancy now.
We used to dress up like, I don't know what we were thinking, but I thought it was going to be fun. And then I realized how many uncomfortable clothes I have.
Or shoes. I wore so many uncomfortable shoes, and you could barely even see my feet.
Yeah.
But we started the KYLO 5 way back then.
Yeah.
And we, that's really kind of the foundation of the KYLO Show has been, how does it work within the KYLO 5? So what better way to start off this new season than going back to the basics of the KYLO 5?
Yeah. And, this is either podcast 165 for you, or it's number one, because this is the first one you're getting in on. Somehow you got the notice that we're going live, and it's all exciting and everything. And so here you are, so we thought, let's do the KYLO 5 as a foundation piece, because it, in essence, is, everything I've said for 40 years in 5 easy steps. Okay, that's, how did you do that? Like, I don't know. Somebody asked us to, so we did it, and it worked.
Allison was probably part of the mastermind of that.
No doubt.
No doubt. But we love Allison. All right. I'll give a quick overview of what they all are. If somehow you're being really studious and taking notes, most likely you're in your car, so don't text and drive.
Don't do that.
But they are: be powerful, choose love over fear, pursue the goal of connection, practice respectful communication, and honor healthy boundaries. But we will dive into the first one, which is why I said it's the first one, because it's be powerful.
Right. Be a powerful person, which, probably the way to set it up is to say, well, what if you're a powerless person?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a powerless person, you are a manipulator. You manipulate your relationships, and you either play the victim so that other people feel like bad guys and they have to succumb to you, or you are trying to control people. And it's usually through anger and charm and whatever. You're the sweetest person in the world, and how could they not do exactly what you want? Or don't trigger me, or I'm going to unleash the beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what powerless people behave like. They are control freaks. Some of them are overt, and everybody knows it, and other people just feel it all the time. Like, what is going on? Why do I always feel like this has to go your way, or bad things are coming? The opposite of that is be a powerful person. You want to be a control freak? Control your freaking self. There you go. We say that again and again, but it's true. If you want to really just overhaul your control freak, control you.
Yeah.
And that's what powerful people do. Powerful people have repented of the lie that I can control other people.
We do Imperfect Parenting podcast, and a lot of places where I think it shows up that you're trying to manipulate or control is even in our relationship with our kids. Like that is and we do it all over. It's not limited to your kids. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that's one of the places that we almost justify it and we get away with it because we have these little kids that aren't able to confront or give feedback or say, this isn't a healthy relationship. I'm going to be walking away until they get older. Sometimes that happens. But just being that mindful of, you described what a powerless person is and what a powerful person is. What if you think you're a powerful person, but really you're a powerless person?
You probably think you're a powerful person because you're aggressive, you're dominating, you are an influencer. You just talk people to death. You get your way. Maybe you're the boss. Maybe you're in charge of something. So you think you're a powerful person. But if you can't control yourself, if you can't get yourself to be respectful, if you can't get yourself to talk about you instead of the other person when you're communicating in a hard conversation, if you can't manage you towards the goal of connection, then you're not a powerful person.
I love if you can't talk about you, but you talk about the other person in a conversation, that's probably a really great thing to be aware of when you're having conversations of tension or conflict or frustration is how much am I doing the you, and I'm trying to remove any responsibility for my actions or what I'm bringing to this.
We'll get to that in the third,
Yeah.
the third level of, healthy, respectful, responsible communication is a must if you are going to move through life as a powerful person and actually tell the truth and trust somebody with good information. That's what powerful people are willing to do. I'm willing to create a relationship where trust is necessary.
That's good. Do you have any fun stories? Can you think of your being a powerful person? All of mine are usually when I made a mess in parenting.
I think of myself. I think of going from just thinking that I could nice people into things. Like I'm the nicest guy you've ever met. I'm the nicest husband you could ever marry. I'm the nicest father you could ever have. Just do what I want you to do because I'm so nice. And how could you not do it? And right away, it didn't work on Sherry, right away. I mean, like right out of the gate. She was like, there's lots of ways I could not do it for you, even though you're nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. I've never run into this problem before. So then I just turned into a victim, and then I was just always hurt, always triggered, always wounded, just always. And I was just a manipulator. So getting out of that is no easy task. Ask me how I know.
Well, that's Mom. Okay, let's go to the next one. Choose love over fear. And I feel like this goes on so many plaques or decor things. It's a very popular phrase amongst Christians that, that's what we're doing. That's our pursuit. I don't know that it is as much practiced as it should be. It is this beautiful, I'll even wear it as jewelry, but to
Love casts out fear.
yeah. And I think putting that into a practice of where I'm actually choosing love over fear, especially in a relational sense, I think a lot of people do it in the space of, I'm scared of circumstances, but in a relationship, choosing love over fear, what does that look like?
Back to being a powerful person, I have choices now.
Yeah.
And I take responsibility for the choices I have. So I stop blaming everybody for why I do what I do. You're not the reason I did what I did. You triggered me. You triggered me. Like, no. You got triggered. What do you do next?
Yeah.
That's you. That's 100% you. And so that is powerful person work right there. Like, woo, what am I going to do with these triggers? Because if I'm a powerless person, I blame people. And I'm going to blame you for why I partner with fear to protect myself in relationships. I'm going to put my Kevlar on in the morning. Maybe I didn't even take it off. I slept in it. I slept in my Kevlar because of you. Like, oh, so fear is my coach. Fear is my counselor, and I blame other people. That is a lifestyle for some people. Is I sit under the counsel of fear, and I blame other people for it. Instead of, as a powerful person, I choose love. I choose Christ. I choose the Holy Spirit. I choose truth and trust. I choose it. I cultivate it. And eventually it feels normal. But for the longest time, in that repentance space right there, it doesn't feel like a choice.
Right.
It just feels like I'm just scared. I'm just scared.
Yeah.
I'm just going to protect myself. Self-preservation is my guide. Okay, well, as soon as you kick into self-preservation is my guide, you are now cultivating the habit of counseling with fear. And a habit makes it feel like there's no choice.
Yeah. For me, I think about the reacted versus responding piece. When I'm partnering with love, when I'm leaning into believing the goodness of God in this, I'm actively looking for how do I respond to this space instead of that fear that surges through your body and you go into that fight, flight, or freeze, and then I'm going to react out of this. And so I don't know how many times in my marriage or with my kids or, somebody cuts you off on the freeway. Those are my moments of choosing love over fear. And it's
and scared people want control.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get that counsel, self-preservation. As soon as
go into the tower.
As soon as that's dripping adrenaline into your bloodstream, you're thinking about how to control something out there. You're not thinking about what to control in here.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay, so with that, next one is pursue the goal of connection, which feels like a great flow of I'm choosing love, even though it feels a little scary. It's not my counselor. I'm going to pursue this goal of connection. So how do we make practical steps towards that?
Well, go back to number one.
I feel like there's a theme.
Read step number one. I'm a powerful person, so I have a choice. I have a choice between love and fear. I choose love. I have a choice between connection and distance. I choose connection. So the choices start to light up in front of me as to which way I'm going to turn the steering wheel at each intersection. And as long as I'm that aware of what I'm doing, it becomes easier. When you're not paying attention, self-preservation is so innate that you end up disconnected, distance, Kevlar'd up, blaming, powerless victim. You just end up there. So you actually have to course correct through each one of those intersections until you end up with, I'm talking to a scary person who's upset, probably upset with me, and I'm telling myself, I choose connection with this.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I've had moments where I have a moment of insecurity. Let's say something happens with my marriage and there's this choice to disconnect and blame. And that's the moment of where self-awareness has been really helpful to kind of pause and go, okay, what will that get me if I choose disconnect in this moment? Is this my issue? Is this Ben's issue? Like, what is going on? Do I need something? So even this practice of kind of walking through how to pause a bit and go, am I a powerful person? I'm choosing love over fear. I'm pursuing the goal of connection. I need something, but I want to stay connected, so I'm going to pursue him first. I mean, that's kind of some of the things that the breakdown. This is obviously this is how we think, live, and breathe. So that's what I feel like I do when those moments arise in my best self. Is I'm able to look at it at a different view.
Powerful people have a plan, right? Yeah. So they have a plan. I have a KYLO 5 plan. I'm working through the steps in any disconnect, in any hurt, woundedness, trigger. I have a plan.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do instead of what could just end up happening.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do. And it's very much you know what you're going to tell yourself to do when you want to just run and hide and blame.
And so number 4 is practice respectful communication. Yeah. And I think about, if you're not choosing to be a powerful person, if you're not choosing love and you're partnering with fear, if you're not choosing connection and you're about to have a conversation, you should put a sock in it.
Yeah, you have nothing to protect.
Nothing to say.
You have nothing to protect with respect and responsibility. So the way you communicate right here is going to be like a wounded rabbit. Wee, wee, wee. You're just going to freak out. You're just going to sound like the playing it back.
The mountain lion down.
Yeah, if you played it back and you watch yourself, you go, pathetic. That was pathetic. If you were counseling somebody and you watched yourself, you just go, oh, don't do anything that I just did. Everything I did added gasoline to that forest fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking with a client, and she has a need, and she's probably being more counseled by fear than love at this moment. And so she get on the call with her and she's like, I know you're going to be honest with me. I know you're going to tell me if I'm ridiculous. I'm not sure how to connect and have a conversation with my husband, this and that. And so we talk through it. And by the end of it, we're both kind of laughing because she realizes she sounds like a wounded rabbit because she's got something else going on that she needs. She's like, I'm not doing a good job. I'm like, you know what? The great thing is that you recognize it here instead of a year of this or whatever. And now we're able to move forward, which I just think is that piece, having a plan. And sometimes the best thing to do is just be quiet until you can figure out what you're going to do with you.
Yeah. And this is where I tell you about me. I don't tell you about you, because the second I start telling you about you, I'm manipulating you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to agree with me. I'm trying to get you to apologize. I'm trying to get you to change. I'm trying to get you to mysteriously know what I need without telling you.
Read my mind.
Yeah. And so I'm manipulating you when I tell you about you. What you do and what you said and what you mean. Like, okay, stop it.
Yeah.
I feel hurt. I feel scared. I feel sad. I feel disconnected. I feel disrespected. I feel powerless. That's how I'm experiencing our relationship, this conversation, that decision. Here's what's going on with me. That's the most respectful thing you can do, is just step into the light and let people see you. And then know how to follow that up with what you need. What do you need to feel? Not what you need them to do. So I need you to bring me flowers and tell me you love me and get, bring home dinner. Okay, well, here's your stupid flowers, you dummy.
your list.
And there's your pizza. It's coming.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to get, I need to feel loved. I need to feel connected. I need to feel important and special. I need to feel respected. That's the need that you have. But when I tell you, here's what I need you to do, I'm back to fear and I'm back to control.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, stay away from lists. You don't want to give a to-do list. Okay, this is another one that everybody loves. Honoring healthy boundaries. Boundaries is a big word that people come to us for a lot of times. And I think if we're being honest, sometimes the ones that come to us for the boundary work is, let me know if I can punish them and it's justifiable. Because I'm really frustrated.
Set a boundary.
I set a boundary.
I told them,
and
don't ever talk to me again. I set a
they're
boundary.
still bleeding.
Yeah.
You know, so what is a real boundary and what does that look like just as a general statement? Because this is what people need to know the difference.
Yeah, people don't understand the difference between boundaries and rejection. And boundaries communicate the hope of reconciliation. So we have got to keep that in the forefront of all our limit setting and communication, is that there's a mess to clean up. And when that mess is cleaned up, then we can move forward. So there's the clarity. Feel free to join us for dinner as soon as your homework's done.
Right.
I didn't say you can't have dinner.
Yeah.
I just said there's an obstacle between you and dinner. Take your time.
Yeah.
And the kitchen closes in 20 minutes, or whatever. That is, I got hope and I'm powerful to do something. But when you say, that's it, I'm sick and tired of this. I've lived my whole life with this with you. You are out of here. You cannot come over to our house anymore. You cannot see your grandchildren. I'm sick and tired of that. That's not a boundary.
Yeah.
That's punishing rejection. So remember that setting boundaries is how you set up your life to flourish. I mean, we got our garden going, man. We got our, we built that fence. There's a boundary. Keep the deer out. Love deer out there.
Yeah.
Hate deer in here. That you get a deer in your garden, and you are all over getting that thing out of there. Gophers. How do I get rid of those things? But the garden fence is a boundary to create flourishing on the inside of that boundary, because there just are creatures that have no respect for all your hard work.
Right.
They just think you did that for them. Like, nope, that's not why we put this garden here. It was not for you to just come eat it in a night. Right? So that's the idea behind it, is I remove what threatens the flourishing and I invite what participates in and helps the flourishing. This is the idea behind boundaries, is you have access when you protect and fuel this thriving. You are on the outside of the fence when you are a threat or you have no respect for what's going on in here.
It's a great description. I think it's we'll get into boundaries another time, no doubt. So, but this was just your quick overview of
What were they again?
They were be powerful, choose love over fear, pursue the goal of connection, practice respectful communication, and honor healthy boundaries.
KYLO 5.
Great question to ask yourself is, how am I doing with the KYLO 5?
Yeah.
And take the temperature of where do you need to work on, what do you need to improve. But this was just a little snapshot and kind of a welcome back, and we're excited about this season.
It's going to be super fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and go to our live questions now, and we'll see you soon. Hello, Hannah, can you hear us and see us okay?
Yes. There we go. Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Very good.
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for jumping on here.
Yeah,
Totally.
this is feels like an honor to me. Danny,
Oh,
I've been reading your book since like 2010.
wow.
And I was giggling to myself that I can't believe this is happening. But Brittany, I love you too. I just haven't known you as long.
I haven't been here as long, that's for
Ah,
sure. So I know I'm all good.
I've been here a long
You've been here a
time.
little while.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Which we appreciate. So thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you both.
It's true.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
You were advancing your front lines. I was having babies.
That's true.
That's what I was
That's
doing.
true.
So,
So true.
but well, we would love to jump into your question, Hannah, and really give you all that we've got to help you moving forward. And again, we're just so honored and grateful that you would take time out to join us. And, who knows, your question could be something that really helps other people too. And that's the beauty of, your vulnerability and being willing to put it out there. So thank you again. It really it means a lot to us.
Oh, well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. My question, so I am recently discovering that I am walking through some trauma from really it comes to having my second kid during the pandemic. And I would love to know wisdom, tips for success, kind of anything that comes to mind in how I can stay connected to my kids through the process of like my own healing. I've walked through trauma before, but my dad died 12 years ago, and so I knew it was happening. So it felt a little more like present, whereas this, it kind of was 4 years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter, and then I had her in 2020. So I feel like it's a little retroactive healing. So just yeah, I guess just would love to hear your guys' thoughts and just tips, wisdom, anything you would like to share.
Well, what kind of triggers are there, and what's kind of just describe some of the things that's going on for you?
Sure. So, my daughter's 3 and she's our firecracker. But we've walked through the screaming phase and we learned real fast I cannot handle that. And so I feel like I've put things in place for when that happens, I'm able to like remove myself. Kids are safe, I'm safe, everyone's good. I So that would be one, just loud noises and screaming. And then I just get angry. Like that's my go-to. I'll get angry if I feel like the kids aren't listening, or if I feel like it really comes from like not being heard. And so yeah, so throw a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old into that, and it's a great mix.
And how does your husband play into the mix?
Yeah, so he's been wonderful. He I feel like is like my uh calming force in the house. Super patient, super kind, really present when I'm feeling not present. So he's been really helpful through the process. And he knows, what's going on. If I feel like I've blown it, I always call or text him when he's at work, just to let him know. And then my kids have seen an adult apologize a lot these last few years, which is humbling and hard. And also, I know I'm grateful that my kids can see that. But so he's been wonderful. He's really been helpful, and supportive. So I'm really thankful for that.
Hmm. And how long have you been married?
14 years next month.
14 years.
Congratulations.
So you were married for a while before you had children.
Yes. Yep. We were married 6 years. My dad actually died when we were married a year. So
Oh,
in
wow.
the year of our marriage, my dad passed away.
Oh, sorry. Are these new triggers for you, or are they just uh, amplified triggers for you?
You know, I would probably say amplified. I anger has always been my go-to. Like I am thankful. I've been in counseling most of my life. I'm a missionary kid, and my parents were very proactive in helping all of the things. So I have realized my anger is definitely a go-to when I am triggered. So I've dealt with that my whole life, but it just feels different, probably because it's in front of two people all the time.
Sure.
So it doesn't feel as like, I don't, private, is that a way to say it? I don't know. It feels
On
more.
display. Yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
They are provoking it probably to come visit even more.
Yep,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
yep.
do you think the anger is more connected to feeling powerless or more to perfection?
It's a great question. Um, I would say probably both. I think powerless in the moment when I'm by myself with my kids, and then perfectionist afterwards, where I'm like, well, I blew it again. Cool. That was
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Great. Double whammy. Yeah. Uh-huh. How responsible do you feel to control your children?
to control my children. We don't control anyone, Danny. We just
Uh-huh.
control
Uh-huh.
ourselves on a good day, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, on a good day. Yeah.
On a good day, yep. Um, I feel like my communication has gotten a lot better with my kids to be able to communicate what I'm needing, um, and to implement consequences without just being angry and wanting to just go straight to punishment.
Uh-huh.
Um, I, I don't know if that answers your question. Does that answer your question?
I'm just wondering if obviously a 3-year-old that's a firecracker is definitely got your number, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
she's just right. So she'll see your anger and raise you a tantrum. Right. So I think that are you funner rooming very well?
Yes, I have gotten better. I
Okay.
think at the beginning I just would explode because I didn't realize what even was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I've gotten a lot better. And my one-liners with her, I'm very proud of myself. I feel like
Yeah.
I've done way better. Now that I'm learning what is going on inside of me, I'm able to use those better with her so
Right.
that it doesn't escalate things.
Yeah.
Um, and she's catching on real fast because kids are smart.
For
It's
sure.
true.
That's where I would pour my energy is into catching the power struggle way early and then having a plan of what you're going to do with you. So, for example, she starts, you give her red cup, blue cup. She says yellow cup. You say you decide, I decide. She says wah. You say no problem. Funner room. She's like rah rah, and you're like, okay, I decide, and you say this is what I'm going to do with me. So I'm going to never go past a 3 because I have a plan. She's not going to catch me off guard. But as long as you really need her to cooperate, then she is going to feed you the bread of power struggle.
Can I ask a question, Hannah? You had her during the pandemic. Was there anything tied to that season where, because we all kind of experienced that isolation and loneliness, did that do anything to your belief system as far as how you can ask for help when you need help?
Yeah. It's funny. I was just processing this very thing. Yes. I've always been like a carer and just like making sure everyone's okay. And sorry, during that time, I didn't feel like I could.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's part of, the control and perfectionist piece that's rising to the surface of what I'm hearing, and probably what you got disrupted in the season of having a beautiful baby and then feeling alone and feeling like I can't ask for help. I don't know how to give care because I don't know what's permitted, what's not permitted. And then I need care, but I don't know how to ask that because everybody needs care. And so then you have this little person looking at you going, I need care. And you're like, yeah, well, me too. Get in line, little person. But you can't say that to the newborn baby. at all. You know, and your husband, who sounds wonderful and supportive, is trying to figure out how to help you as you're trying to figure out, I don't even know anymore. So, you know, I think that's probably what I'd be going after more than anything is you sound like you're really aware of the tools and wanting to practice them, and you're making ground. So that's wonderful. Keep that up. Don't stop. But the piece of the belief system behind I'm alone and so, no one's going to take care of me, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with that. Because that piece right there will just create a filter that is destructive. And you don't want that. And that's why I think you're here, is you don't want that in any sense. And I bet you are a really, really great mom.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that, you know, you are harder on yourself than anyone else. Mm-hmm. And I bet that those two kids think the world of you, because that's what our children do, is we look at ourselves and see nothing but the imperfections. We look at ourselves and go, I am failing everywhere. But the truth is that, you know, the beauty that God created us to be those children's parents. I mean, he chose you. You know, and he knew that you were going to walk into that pandemic, and he knew that you were going to walk through questions and doubts, and he still chose you. So I think that's the place and beauty to start is the belief systems of you've not been abandoned, you're not alone. And I think the pandemic stripped us of the belief that there's community and it's okay to ask for help. And wow, and it worked. We became afraid of everybody. I would hug you if I could, but you're on a screen. Your face is as big as my arms, so I would give you a good cuddle. But because I think that as long as that has some kind of root, you're going to walk around with that weighing you down in every effort and every success that you have with your kids and every triumph that you have and every moment you're like, I'm a good mom. You're going to look at that and go, but I'm alone.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I pray for you real fast?
I would love that.
Okay. Well, Lord, we just thank you so much for Hannah. We thank you really that you chose her to be the mother of these children, that you have called her, that you have equipped her, that you know more than anyone how great a mom she was going to be, that she was going to be able to look at those kids and bring your heart towards them, that she was going to be able to look at them and she was going to see your heart and bring them into a place of calling and steward that in them, help disciple them. God, I pray that you would remind Hannah right now of the courage that you have put inside of her for this calling, for this season. Father, I just ask right now that you would break off all the lies of shame, all the lies of belief of abandonment. God, we just confront the things that want to hold true to her that are limiting her ability of what you've gifted her for. So, Father, we thank you for the call on this family. God, we release your presence. We release your courage. We release your grace, God. And we just bless this home. And we bless Hannah in Jesus' name.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Go get them, Hannah.
Yeah. Go be that remarkable mother that you were created to be.
Yeah.
And really the woman that you were created to be.
Yep.
And that you're not alone in this. Don't let that lie hold you back in any sense.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping on here. Really appreciate you.
So much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi, George. How are you?
Doing great today. Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Oh, well, thanks so much for jumping on the KYLO Show and going live with us with your question. So helpful. It's really fun to have a live person.
A real person.
Uh-huh.
Well, not that Brittney's not a real person, but
I feel live and real.
yeah, good.
It
good,
is.
good.
It is. And, it's again, thanks for sharing your question. I think hopefully it'll be something that'll be helpful to other people. I'm sure it will, because we're all people and we seem to have similar questions in life. They seem to all kind of start to flow together. So I'm excited for your question, see how we can help you.
All right. Yeah. So my question is, we've got one of our our 10-year-old uses about 8 hours a day of screen time. And we're just wanting to do like a KYLO kind of a way to get her down to about 2 hours a day, which we think is a lot healthier, especially at summertime.
Yeah. So that technology question that every parent has now more than ever
For sure.
is it's a real problem. We didn't have that problem when I was a kid.
Yeah. So George, how did it work its way up to that amount of time?
Kind of her and her sister have their own iPads, but we collect them in the evenings. And so she kind of is just become a quiet person in the corner that we don't notice sometimes, is pretty much how it's happened.
Mm-hmm. Is there any kind of alternative to screen time in the house or in her life?
Yeah, she does enjoy reading books.
Okay.
And of course, playing outside and yeah.
Yeah. Have you put any kind of requirement on the relationship as far as like, hey, today we're only going to have our iPad for, a reduced amount of time, or you can earn iPad hours or minutes from chores? Have you kind of introduced anything like that to the iPad or screen time in general?
We have tried a few things. One of them was 2 hours of screen time and then 1 hour of break. And but being consistent with that was something we were having trouble with, running our business at the same time. So
do you get much fight or pushback when you do limit the screen time or implement something like what you just said?
if I say ahead of time I don't want any fight with this, I don't. If I don't do that, then generally there's a bit of a pushback. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my experience with screen time, because I'm probably the one that has the most parenting experience in screen time compared to the two of us here sitting at this
Well,
table,
for sure.
is, like I would say out of the three kiddos that we've had, our youngest son, who is about to turn 12, he loves screen time, and he loves video games, and he loves he talks to his friends online because he has an online school. So there's lots of screen time world. One of my favorite things that Ben has kind of put into play is he talks about go be bored and figure out how you can not be bored. But it's part of this is just that you are requiring something. And, if I were to say, we've done in the summer, especially, we kind of do a no device Tuesday, Thursday, because, I'm like you, I work. And so I'm gone from the house. And so it is really easy for them to just kind of entertain themselves. And that is the easiest way of entertainment that has ever faced the planet, it feels like, is entertain me here right now. And it's just, it's easy. It's effortless, and it's convenient for us parents, if we're being honest. It really is. But I would lean into a conversation with her of, maybe some changes, because it sounds like she does a really great job with ahead of time information of some things that you're going to be doing. Even asking the question, what do you feel is appropriate amount of screen time? We did this with Lincoln not very long ago, and he said something like, I don't know, 6 hours. And Ben said, that doesn't feel like appropriate amount of screen time. And so they kind of talk through what the word appropriate means and what happens when we're on screens all day long, and what, the benefit and the not benefit, and how there is good in screens and then there's not good on screens. And because we're not going to get rid of the internet, we're not going to get rid of these things that are going to be part of their lives. So how do we find what the balance is in a healthy way? And I think every family is different in that. But, they got to this agreement of walking through. But him, because he's older, like your 10-year-old, the conversation back and forth, she probably will feel a bit more empowered. a bit more part of the process. But the biggest, hardest road that you're going to face is your ability to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that 10-year-old is going to act like a 10-year-old and be like, you know what? If I stay quiet in this corner, no one will see me. If I hide in this closet, if I'm small, nobody will see. But she won't manage herself. She won't bring self-control because she's 10. And this is where, we have to train her, we have to guide her, and we have to lead her in. So if you want changes in anything, behavioral stuff, connection stuff, communication skills, whatever it is, we have to train our kids in this. So the consistency part, the accuracy, the hard confrontation, the consequence for not following through with what we've asked, that all is going to rest on the parent's shoulder. And so that's the thing, is that if you say this is what we're doing and you don't follow through with it, you're not going to find anything different than what you currently have.
Totally.
So I would, start with a plan that you feel is doable for you, that you want to work towards a goal, and then go after being consistent. And I know for us, it feels rewarding when I'm like, oh, they weren't on screens at all today. Not because I said they couldn't be, because they didn't want to be. And they went outside, and like the other day, I went outside and they were on a blanket in the grass with an umbrella that they had found from my car because it was sunny. And they made their own shade canopy, the two of them. And I was like, this is great. This is what being a kid's all about. Choices on their own. So I would say your job is to be consistent.
And George, I would I would just throw out there that do you know why you don't want them on the screen for 6 hours a day?
My main why is so that there's more interaction with the rest of the family, because we love our daughter.
Mm-hmm. And so is that a guarantee that if she's not on the screen, she'll be interacting with the rest of the family?
From what we've seen when she's not on screen time, that is exactly what she does.
Great.
She is so loving towards our youngest son that he actually calls her mama sometimes.
Nice. Maybe you could just also make the iPad something that she has to gain access to. Like it's something that she has to come and find you for and get it. It's never fully charged. It's always in need of charges. It's barely ever got anything on it, so you can use it for as long as it's available. But it starts to just become less convenient, because if she's just laying there with it plugged in all the time, and it's just a mind gobbler. It's just absolutely, hours go by, and you don't even know if you breathed in 6 hours, because it's just so much, it's doing so much for you. So I would put some obstacles in front of her getting access to it, and or it even working very well. The other thing might be that you have a separate Wi-Fi, and that you can turn it on and off, and so that there's a different code, there's a different access, and that goes off at 11 a.m. every day, and it comes back on at 6 p.m. for 2 hours or whatever. But you might just look into regulating access, because if she's naturally just engaging with the family, which is what you want her to do, then it's kind of like if they have a boyfriend, all of a sudden it's like nobody else in the world exists. You're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get? Well, that's kind of the next phase of life. But right now, she's 10. She shouldn't have a 6-hour-a-day boyfriend yet.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you, George, so much for asking your question. I think, again, you're in the similar boat to a lot of parents trying to navigate technology. So I would just lean into, you're the leader of your home. So establish what it is that you want to protect, and again, I would invite her into that, especially when she responds better to kind of a conversation. And I think you'll be able to make some adjustments pretty easy.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
All right.
All
See
right,
you
Joyce.
later.
Bless you.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you go to lovingonpurpose.com and sign up for our emails to stay connected about upcoming episodes and how to ask your questions live. Never miss an episode of The KYLO Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on Loving on Purpose YouTube channel.
And don't forget, whole healthy families are going to save the world. See you next time.